Hi, everybody. If you're there, I hope somebody's there. I don't do these often enough to feel like I know what I'm doing. Why is it not showing? There we go. Why is it such a delay between the video on YouTube and the one on StreamYard? Okay. Oh, what a mess I'm having here today trying to get going. I just spilled water all over myself right at air times, which was crazy because then I had to rush around and try and find some paper towels to clean up a little bit. I don't know if anybody's out there yet, but if you are, pop in the comments and say hello. So here we are. Happy Friday. Oh, hello, Sandra. Thank you. Happy Friday, everybody. And I'm going to do something new today that I started doing a month ago, or less than a month ago, on my channelversary, which is interactive walkthroughs. And so you all will be able to play along with me, participate, share your thoughts and ideas on the decks that I'm going to show you. First of all, welcome. If I haven't said that already, I probably have. Do you like my shirt? I've been recently discovering online a proliferation of companies that are releasing t-shirts with cover art from classic albums. And this one is from my favorite folk psychedelic folk band from the 60s, the Incredible String Band. They're a Scottish band. And this was my favorite album. It's the first one I got, although I think it's their third. It's called Wee Tam. And yeah, I love it. I love that album. What's everybody drinking today? I am drinking pink lemonade, which you can't see, but trust me, it's pink and it's lemonade. Who else is here? Witchy Wallflower, hello. So what I'm doing is I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a walkthrough with you. Oh, hello, Simon, welcome. And the walkthrough, I'm going to share all my thoughts, all my pros and cons, as I do as a card curmudgeon, but I also want all your thoughts, and I want you to play along, because today I have two oracles, well, an oracle and a something. And I'm not really into oracles. They, as I said in my last video, they give me too much information. But this one has a single image and a single word describing the image. And then it has a separate guide for the interpretations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the card and tell you what that word means to me. And I want to ask you guys if you'll type in the name of the card followed by what keyword you would associate with that. So we can all kind of help each other expand our glossary of interpreting oracles. Now, I found this deck on Etsy, and I tend really, my likes, I think, are starting to become predictable if they aren't already. I like decks that feel mysterious, witchy, ancient, antique-y, like something that you might find in your witch grandmother's attic in an old chest or something. Hi, Naomi. And so there are not that many of those out there. So when I find one that sort of hits the mark, I'm drawn to it. And as I said, I'm going to be doing these interactive walkthroughs. That's kind of my new thing on my channel. But there won't be that often because I'm not buying that many decks. I did just buy one the other day, and I might save it up for September just so I have something then. Okay, let's get on with this. Today's oracle that I found on Etsy, it's called the Wychwood Oracle, Wychwood. The Wychwood Oracle, that's a trademark, and then under it says the Witch's Oracle. There is the title card. And what I liked about it was I liked that the cards looked antique-y, that they have, they're sort of a, not papyrus, what do you call a kind of a parchment paper look to them. And I'm just going to tell you, so we have a title card, we have a meanings card, and then we have the deck. Actually, I'm all turned around here. I'm not going to do that one first. When I ordered this deck, it came with a little bonus deck, and it came in this little pouch. And this one was affixed with a thank you note. We'll get into the meat of the Wychwood in a minute, but this one is so brief, I don't even know what to call it. This one's called The Tongue of the Unseen. It's a traditional Persian fortune-telling method. Place the cards face down and hover your hand over them. Think of any issue or question you may have. Choose whichever of the cards you are drawn to, turn it over and read. Contemplation of the verse may inspire an answer, guidance, or direction. That's all the info I've got on the direction card. They're little poker-sized cards. These are the backs. I don't quite know what to make of that design. I can't quite figure it out. I think it might just be random. Did it come with one of those curling fishes? No, actually. Naomi says she has a tarot cloth from their shop. That's why she recognized the name. And this only has 5 cards. What are you going to do with 5 cards? I mean, it's like rolling a single die. Not even, because they have 6 sides. So I'm just going to read you what the cards say and see what you think. So the first card says, caressed by the breeze, butterfly, unbound at last, lifts, does not look back. So, and this kind of reminds me of like the I Ching cards or something. It's like, boy, you really have to sort of delve into the poetry to figure out what that might convey to you. And this is almost the epitome of the kind of oracle cards I'm not really drawn to. Although this is less direct, so it's more abstract or more obscure that you can kind of interpret on your own. They have a few different decks. Mine has more cards. Okay. The second one is a weary season. Dark weeds loom large. In the shade, orchids bud unseen. And I'm going to read them all because there's only 5. Freedom. Okay. Yes, this is very different to my Wychwood Oracle. Yeah, this is not the Wychwood. This is the bonus deck that came with it called The Tongue of the Unseen. I just wanted to get that out of the way. It wasn't anything I ordered. It just was a surprise, pleasant little bonus. The third card says, a rod, line, and lure. The vast sea in a shot glass. Fishing for answers. And I think this is something that I probably would just need to sit and mull over. I mean, it might be a good cafe deck, where I'm just like window gazing, sipping my coffee, and thinking about this little poetic kind of haiku, trying to figure out. Sandra says, still nice to have it as an extra. Yeah, I don't know whether I'll leave it at home or tuck it in the bag with the regular deck. Card number 4 is a cricket singing in a cage makes little noise. A choir can raise roofs. I mean, they're very poetic and pleasant, but I mean, some of you probably have more experience with reading oracles like this than me. Hello, Deanne. And the last card is the turbulent night roughly snuffs pale lantern lights. The stout moon endures. So make of that what you will. Like I said, that was just a little bonus thing called the Tongue of the Unseen, a traditional Persian fortune-telling method. I like the simplicity of it. The visuals of the cards are nothing special to me. I'm going to have to work with it a while and see if I can actually get anything out of these little phrases. Now we'll get on to the Wychwood Oracle. Just want to double check if anybody had anything they wanted to respond to that. No, I think we're okay. So when I ordered this on Etsy, I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to arrive. I think I looked for a walkthrough on YouTube, and it came in a brocade, Chinese brocade pouch like this, which is nice, but this actually doesn't, it doesn't suit the quality of the cards. I mean, it looks very modern. It's Chinese. You know, this is not a Chinese deck. It's not a modern looking deck, but it's the way to store it, you know, as opposed to just having loose cards. And I guess you could put it in your own bag or box. I was hoping, because I found these a la carte at Make Playing Cards and I love them. I think they're like under $2, little sort of soft plastic hinge box. And I love them. They're like the tins, but they're sturdy and they don't dent, and they're really durable. And I thought, oh boy, you know, this deck will fit in there. Well, it turns out that the box is for bridge cards. I mean, yeah, bridge cards, and these are poker size, which I didn't know the difference. Poker's actually wider than bridge, so I can't use that for this. They won't fit. So that was a little disappointing, but it's nice to have this little silk satin brocade bag. Now, one of the downsides of this is the snap, because the snap is pretty firm. And I'm thinking, you know, repeated pressure and release on a metal snap is going to leave a mark on the cards. So if I continue storing this deck in this bag, I'm going to put the title card on top, or maybe I'll just keep those Persian cards on top because I don't care about them getting damaged. But anyway, so you have that, but you also, usually I just see a snap is it, or a zipper. This has both a snap and a zipper. So yeah, I like the fact that there's a zipper on there, and the cards fit perfectly. So great storage thing, even though it doesn't aesthetically match the cards. Now, the Wychwood Oracle. Okay, here we go. So it says 27 cards for fortune telling, oracle readings, and more, plus guide cards. It's made, doesn't say where it's made. It was made in 2019, created by May Irving. It just says wychwoodoracle.com. I think they were from the UK. I'm not sure. On the back of the card, the title card, it gives the instructions and a spread. You can see a tiny little 3-card past, present, future there. If this is coming out backwards in the print, let me know, even though there's nothing I can do about it. It looks forward on my screen, but I never quite remember whether it flips stuff or not. Sandra, you would hate my decks in bags, Robin. Most of them don't match. I don't mind so much if they don't match. I kind of like some similar aesthetic. So I will find a bag that works for this, or I'll crochet my own. So the instructions on the back, it says, the Wychwood Oracle, created by May Irving. The card meanings provided are meant as a guide only, a starting point to help inspire your own intuition. If a card is drawn upside down or reversed, the meaning is generally understood to negate or be in opposition to that given when it's facing the right way up. Cards can be drawn individually or as part of a spread to help answer your questions or divine your path. One of the simplest and oldest forms of reading is the 3-card spread, which looks at the past, present, and future influences surrounding a question. Okay, very simple, very easy, very direct. You're all used to this. The next card in there is the suggested meaning cards. And I don't know about you guys, but I love this. Instead of a book or a little white book or little mini pamphlet, all the meanings are listed. Well, there's only 27, right? 27 on 2 sides of a card. So I'm not going to show it close up, just give you a little bit of a glance because we're going to be using that in our game. Now the cards. The cards is a nice card stock, flexible. It's almost matte. There's a little bit of a sheen, but not very much. And these are the backs, and I love them. Now you can see what I mean by antique or vintage. It has that kind of antique border. And if you look at the center, there's a circle of witches riding brooms, and I can't see if these are butterflies or birds. I think I'm not sure. I think they might be butterflies. I thought they were blackbirds. My camera's not very well focused. But I do like the backs. They're like antique, they're mysterious, they have mystique, they have a witchy quality to them, and mystery. I love all that. Sandra likes the backs. Simon likes the design. Sandra wonders if they're bats. They don't have those kind of scallopy wings, and I'm feeling, let me check my other glasses. I'm feeling like they have antennae. And the wings seem to be divided into 4. So I think they're butterflies, but it seems odd to have like black butterflies with witches, but I guess they could be moths, but they look more like butterfly wings. So anyway, that's the backs, and here's the front of the first card. So if everybody's ready to play, we have a nice little antique border here. And then in the middle of it, we have an old-fashioned engraving kind of image of a kettle, and this card is called the kettle. So I want you to type in kettle and then follow that with whatever keyword or keywords you might associate with kettle. While I think of mine, I'm thinking probably something in the nature of sustenance, hospitality, home and hearth, or kind of things. I mean, you put the kettle on, you have a cuppa, something to ease your mind, calm you down, soothe you. a kettle with a cup of some kind of warm beverage that you find comforting. Naomi says, don't get burned. Boiling point, says Simon. Naomi asked if there are moths. I don't think so, but they could be. Anybody else? Deanne? Kettle. What do you make of a kettle? Okay. Time's up. I'm going to tell you. The card suggested meaning for kettle is communication, community, understanding. That I can sort of see. It's not directly readily apparent, but you know, you put the kettle on when someone visits you, and you sit down and you have a quiet conversation with them. Everything's better after a cuppa, says Simon. So, I mean, I'm currently watching Miss Marple and Father Brown and sort of vintage Brit series like that. That sort of, you know, where more often than not somebody shows up at the door and they sit at the table and they have a cup of tea and they pour out a pot. Hello, Nicholas Quest. Thank you. From Michigan and new to learning tarot. That's great. This one's not about tarot so much, but peripherally, it's an oracle. Excuse me. And I was explaining, I don't generally do oracles. This might work for me better than most because it doesn't give me much information. It gives me an image and then the name of the image, what the image is. So that's number one. Oh, also, if you hadn't noticed, they have Roman numerals on each card. So you do have to know your Roman numerals. I like that. I know them. I like that kind of antique quality about them over an Arabic numeral. And they are, you know, by Roman numeral on the meanings card. Number two, if you're ready, is the ladder. So what does the ladder mean for you? Getting a footing, stepping up, climbing, attaining, reaching your heights, attaining something you're after, taking things a step at a time, maybe. I know I'm cheating a little because I'm not giving you single keyword answers, but don't walk under it, says Simon, right? So yeah, it could be, I don't know. Yeah, I think I would probably read that if I did it reverse, but that's in there too. I don't usually do reversals, and I tend to want to incorporate both positive and negative meanings into image reading. Ladder, getting a better perspective, success. Yep. Okay. The meanings card for ladder is ascension, promotion, motivation. I think they might be a little bit liberal with some of their words, but you know, okay, success. Card number 3, the mistletoe. Let me know how you feel about these illustrations too. So far I've liked them. I don't care for this one. This looks a little bit difficult to figure out that that's a plant. I think I might have preferred like a whole sprig of mistletoe hanging, or possibly just a single set of leaves and berries. But here we have the mistletoe. For me, the mistletoe would be kiss, affection, love, possibly a token of affection. Oh, Simon has this. He goes, my Wychwood is so different. Oh, I didn't know there was more than one. Simon says, kiss, kiss. Nicholas had said, taking first steps towards a goal with the ladder. Deanne's distracted with work, so maybe this was already said, but it reminds me of my little Mildred. Yeah. Nobody said that, but I kind of get that. And I have the Mildred. I have the little one, and I also have the deluxe one, which is more this size. So did I say mistletoe? Affection, romance, a romantic surprise. Nicholas says, love, the start of abundance. Mistletoe, love. Naomi likes the illustrations. Sandra says, kiss, but also I would be thinking druid as it was a sacred plant to them. Cool. Number 4, thimble, the thimble. I love this. I have a kind of an obsession with thimbles. For me, it's a very strong symbol of protection, like a shield, guard against pain and suffering, defense, but also anybody who's familiar with Alice in Wonderland might remember that at the end of the caucus race, the dodo gives out prizes, and he instructs Alice to hand out the prizes. And the only thing she has in her pocket are something called comfits, and I don't know if that's a British thing, which apparently are sort of like little mini crackers or cookies or some kind of little savory snack, and a thimble. And so after she's handed out all the comfits as prizes, he goes, but you have to have a prize too. She goes, all I have is this thimble. He goes, well, hand it over. So she gives the thimble to the dodo, and he says, may I present you with this wonderful thimble, or something to that effect. And I just love that. And I actually carry a thimble in my little witch's medicine bag. So anyway, so yeah, for me, thimble is a sort of sense of self-preservation or guard against something. See what you guys say. Protection, thimble work. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you want to elaborate, Naomi. A rude awakening, maybe, or a warning, maybe. An abrupt halt. Nicholas, are we all talking about the thimble here? Higher vibrations. Wow. Those are things I would never have thought about with a thimble, but okay. So the card says, did I read that yet? I shouldn't. The card says home, hearth, and shelter. That's not where I went with it. But that's the thing about oracles. It's like, and that's one of the reasons I don't usually like oracles, is because I don't want to be dictated to me the meaning. And the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is I want to see if there's sort of a common denominator, or there's a sense conveyed across multiple people of similar things. And I do see a bunch of you said protection. So, and that's kind of what I thought. So anyway, there we go, thimble. This won't go on too long, guys. I hope it's 3:30. I hope not to go past 4. And we're on card 5 already, and there's only 27 cards. So next one is the hare, number 5, the hare. Now, I don't know what I think of with a hare. Maybe the chase, wildness, wilderness, jumping to conclusions, lucky rabbit's foot. It's running or leaping. So it's like, there's sort of like escape maybe, or evading something possibly. Yeah, Simon says, ooh, so many possibilities. Sandra says magic. And Sandra said she thought homely for the kettle, which I think was kind of what it was. I mean, it was this sort of notion of being homely in terms of around home and hearth, and putting the kettle on for guests, and having quiet moments of thought. Which is familiar for a hare, really? Okay. I've never seen that. Abundance, says Deanne. New life, says Simon. Okay. The hare. Transformation, independence, freedom. I get the freedom, not sure about transformation. Independence, I get. So yeah, I mean, see, I won't use all these. I'll only use the ones that I relate to or respond to, or if they back up my feeling, my interpretation for the card. Nervous energy, says Nicholas. Quick reaction, says Naomi. New life, says Simon. Yes, it was well known that a witch could transform into a hare. Nice. Okay. Nervous energy, Deanne was going to say fear. Okay. Now, card number 6, this is a little bit similar. It's the toad. And I mean, this one's not jumping or leaping. So I mean, the other one I sort of said leaping to conclusions or jumping to conclusions. I might say that with a toad too, but this one's kind of seated. I get a very earthy nature feel to this. And I don't know. I'm not sure about a toad. Warts. It's a toad instead of a frog. So I'm thinking dry land as opposed to in a pond. Sandra says spells. Gee, I don't know. Toad. A toad can be a which is familiar in history and also in Harry Potter, and also what Simon, you'll remember, what was that old British series about a wizard from the Middle Ages that came into modern times, and he had a pet toad that was his familiar. Can't remember the name of the familiar, but it had a funny name. Hello, welcome betwixt, between, and things unseen. Hello, what a great name. No, not Merlin. It was a weird name like Snickerdoodle or something like that. A persnickety or what was it? It was like a kind of a half-hour show from the 70s, a kid's show. Toads for me are about patience. They sit very still and suddenly snap a fly from the air. Yeah, that's cool. Cat weasel. That's it, Sandra. Cat weasel. Oh, Simon said it too. Yeah, I can't remember the name of Cat weasel's toad familiar, but it had a funny name too. Anyway, so let's see what the meanings card says for toad. Self-worth, hidden beauty, self-respect. May, I don't know where you're getting these, but they're all yours. That one didn't connect with me. Self-worth, hidden beauty, self-respect. I could see maybe hidden beauty because of all the fairy tales of toads or frogs that were turned princes or princesses, whatever, turned into toads. So it could be transformation, I'm thinking warts too, like when you handle that sort of thing. I don't even know if it's an old wives' fable or if it's true that if you handle touchwood, Naomi says, touchwood the toad. I love that. That's so magical. Everybody touch wood. Yeah, I don't know if you actually do get warts from handling toads, but this is about building vocabulary when you look at images. So all these things, depending on the question for the querent, and if you do a spread or not, they will take on different interpretations. That's what divining is all about. Number 7 is the owl. Okay, obvious to me is wisdom, night watcher, maybe, nighttime. Unseen, says Betwixt. I think maybe she's referring to the toad. Wisdom, night, knowledge, justice. That's interesting, Simon. An owl is justice. Right. If I think about that, and I think about wisdom, I also think sort of about right and wrong, or somebody being able to know the difference of what's true and what's false, or what's right and wrong. Soul Alchemy with Indigo Jaguar. Hello, Heather. So that's the owl, and the owl interpretation is wisdom, solitude, knowledge. Actually, an owl feels very much like it would be like a hermit card, doesn't it? Somebody in solitude who's very wise, probably because they do their studying in solitary, alone. Okay, here's going to be another tricky one. Number 8, the cat. Okay, black cat, I think unlucky. I think witch is familiar. I think superstition, black cats crossing your path, which is familiar. Simon's Wychwood has owl for justice. I cheated. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Simon, check on your packaging. Does it say? Because mine doesn't say. Is yours in 2019? Because I'm surprised that this doesn't say like version 2 or second edition or anything like that. This was created 2019. And was yours created by the same person, or maybe just had the same title? This is by May, M-A-I, Irving. So if you find that out, let me know. I'm curious. You think yours was 2017? I have two black cats. Nothing but love and good luck. Okay. Simon, no cheating, says Sandra. So for the black cat, we have mystery, magic, luck. Okay. See, are cats lucky or unlucky? I guess it depends on your point of view. Number 9 is the viper, not the snake, but the viper. Now, had this been called the snake, I would pick up on something that Kelly Fitzgerald taught me for Lenormand, to think of the snake as twists and turns, which I really love, because a lot of people look at snakes as like lowly, evil, demonic, earthbound, slithering, sneaky, slimy. But for me, and a viper, I think of as sort of spiteful, deceitful, apt to bite, something with fangs. Naomi says guarded. Simon's deck has 32 cards. Wow. Owl and black cat are the only cards we have the same so far. Temptation, says Simon. Heather, oh, I like that. Twists and turns. Oh, Heather, if you're just joining in, what we're doing is we are providing the keywords that we might come up with from these images, and then comparing them to what is on their interpretation card. I'm trying to build a glossary for use for myself of meanings that I might pull out of the imagery. And some of the ones you guys are supplying, I resonate with, and others I don't at all. But I think that's what oracles are all about. And I love the idea that they're open to us being able to interpret them. Venomous talk, gossip. Sandra says, I think Wychwood do a few different decks. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because if they're described the same, but they're different decks and you can't tell them apart without buying them, that seems really confusing and like mixed messaging or something. I don't know why they did that. It's not even like Patrick Valenza, who will reissue a deck in 5 different colors, but it's all the same cards and meanings. I don't think the coloration really affects the interpretation that much. Penetrating. They have different names, Robin, the decks. Oh, okay. So the Viper, we have shedding the old. I forgot that. Yeah, that's the thing about snakes. They shed their skins. That's, for me, it's twists and turns and shedding your skin. There's an element of transformation. But there's also a sort of undercover surreptitious quality, like a snake. There's something sneaky or clever about them, or, unpredictability maybe. Viper, shedding the old, renewal, rejuvenation. Okay. Number 10, the Hound. What do you see with the Hound? As opposed to just the dog, I mean, I've grown to think of dogs as, loving companions, unconditional love. In the Lenormand, they're like friend, companion, support. This looks sort of like a race dog or a hunting dog or something. So, and a hound, don't hounds hunt foxes? So I'm just like, maybe stealthy pursuit. Naomi says faithful worker. Hey, Debbie, Aquarius House says sage advice. I think we all do if they gossip about us. Hate snakes, yeah. I had a pet that was a whippet mix. How sweet, definitely unconditional love. Swift, pointed. Yeah. That one is Hound. Loyalty, faithfulness, companionship, which for me is generic dog as opposed to specifically hound. I might have renamed that dog rather than hound. Number 11. So you notice some of these actually echo Lenormand cards. Swift, pointed, says betwixt. Okay. The next one's the magpies. The magpies, I mean, this looks to me like the birds, which I don't know if I'd know magpie if I saw it. But the birds in Lenormand is generally gossip or a chatter or Twitter, talking, people talking around you, communication, conversing. And so the magpies, for me, don't they chatter a lot? And I can see that with gossip and chatter and maybe malicious talk, possibly. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, chatter, says Sandra. Magic, tricksy, says Naomi. Collect things, yeah. So magpies, a good omen, joy, spontaneity. Now, are magpies the ones that like collect bright things and, put them in their nest to sort of doll up the nest? Not sure if that's if I think probably multiple birds do that. Magpies might be one of them, but magpies give me gossip vibes too, but they are also collectors. So maybe an element of greed. Interesting. They are very noisy birds. Yeah, chattery. The magpies, a good omen, joy, spontaneity. Oh, I guess I said that already. Number 12 is the scissors. I like this. I kind of wish they had been open instead of closed in the imagery, because that, I mean, I like the idea that scissors can be both a tool or a weapon. You know, it's something used for cutting, sharp, working your way through something, maybe, developing patterns for stitching together, building on, cutting ties, says Sandra, cut away, says Simon, cutting away what is no longer needed in one's life, says Heather. Corvids, says Naomi. I guess she's referring to the magpies. Danger making. Okay. Scissors. Scissors says practicality. Yep. Common sense. Inspiration. Interesting. So they relate to it more as a kind of a homely tool, I guess. And here I am, number 13, lucky 13, the toadstool. I've seen other prettier looking toadstool illustrations, but this will do. Toadstool. I often think of the fates when I see scissors. Common sense, interesting. Some of these interpretations are a stretch for me. Me too, Simon. So, I mean, this is one of the reasons that I prefer just cards with names, so I can figure out my own words, and why I'm sort of glad that this isn't a guidebook, because, you know, they go to the trouble of publishing a guidebook that leads me in the wrong direction. So I like finding my own way. Poison, says Sandra. Food, medicinal. Yeah. I also sort of think of fairy magic, but, you know, I wouldn't normally come up with that as a keyword. But, you know, toads sit on toadstools, supposedly, in fairy lore, and elves and pixies sit under them or hide under them. You have the fairy ring made of toadstools. It's magic. Makes me think of sort of ritual magic, because you have a circle, and if you step into the circle, you can be captured, caught, retained. You'll meet a fun guy, says Simon. Maybe. Let's see, interconnectedness. Yeah, because of was it the mycelium structure or something, like underground, how the root system or whatever of mushrooms or toadstools is all interconnected. Could be communication across wide distance. Yes, when I say poison, only some. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you by this particular brand of mushroom whether that's a poisonous one or a safe to eat one. I feel like I've seen ones that look like this in the produce counter at my grocery. The toadstool, perseverance, growth through hardship, patience. I like that, growth through hardship, because don't they grow from decayed matter? So, yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. It's like something that grows from decay. So it's like this sort of notion of evolution or rejuvenation, reviving oneself, maybe. Communication is good. Mycelium structure, yes. Number 14 is the cartwheel. The cartwheel, this to me is kind of like the wheel of fortune, sort of wheel of karma, wheel of the year. Everything that goes around comes around. It can also be travel, motion, moving forward, taking chances, transporting something from one place to another. Luck, says Simon. Change. This is just the wheel itself. If I connect it to the cart, then it kind of adds other additional potential meanings. You use the cart as a tool to bring your stuff to market, or move hay from the field to the granary or whatever, So we have the cartwheel. Fortune, says Heather. Surprise. Wheel of fortune, change. Okay, the cartwheel. Journey, travel, possibilities. Okay. Now we're halfway through. That's one side. I'm switching to the second side of the interpretation or meanings card. Number excuse me. Number 15 is the moon. Okay, the moon. We have the moon card in tarot. We've got the moon card in Lenormand. Betwixt says, since it says cartwheel, journey, or burden of work. Heather likes these cards. The moon, nighttime. Whenever I get the moon, often if I have a query about something and I get the moon, often what runs through my head is sleep on it. Sort of like, don't make rash decisions tonight. Things will be clear in the light of dawn, in the morning. The moon is, it's mystery, it's illusion, it's cycles. The moon cycles, loss and gain, and personal growth. Okay. Loss and gain I like, because you've got, the waxing and the waning moons. Solitude, says Simon. The moon's about psychic abilities, intuition, cycles, and the divine feminine. Personal growth, illusion. Number 16 is the rope. It's interesting how this one is kind of looped and knotted. It's not a noose exactly, but I like that knots are being tied. It's almost like a witch's ladder, how you work charms into a piece of cording by knotting them while you chant. If anybody's ever created a witch's ladder. Not magic, says Sandra. Tongue-tied. Okay. Tie me to the length of that. It's an old Public Image song. Being all tied up. I'm all tied up. I can't deal with you now. I'm tied. I can't move. I'm restrained. I'm in knots. I'm tangled. Bonds, says Simon. Binding, even tension and tangled. Okay. Rope says binding, steadiness, security. That's interesting. It's like you can use a rope as a ladder. You can use it. You can climb it. You can so you can hold on to it. You can tie yourself to something to make yourself secure. Hanging oneself with their words, says Heather. Strength, binding, even. Okay. Number 17 is the key. That to me is sort of lock and key, unlocking answers, finding answers to your questions, finding the keyhole to match your key, being able to open or unlock something, being able to reveal something. Sandra's mind is too focused on the witchy. Not at all. Bring it on. Possibilities. Key of possibilities. Key of reason. My favorite children's book is by a 19th century author named George MacDonald. You should check him out. Of a story. It's called The Golden Key. And it's an interesting fable. It's a fairy tale. And it's funny how I found it, because I worked in a bookstore with millions of books, and I was wandering through the music section aisle one day, and this slim little volume was hidden between other music books. And it wasn't about keys in music. And I thought, what is this little fairy tale doing here? Like somebody hid it in between these music books in the Golden Key. I thought, this is maybe meant for me to find it. And, you know, I do have some background as a musician, so it's kind of funny that there is that connection with the key. Oh, I sent Simon a copy of the book. I don't know if you ever read it or not. It doesn't have the actual answer to the key to life, but it sort of leans in that direction. It seems like it's more about the journey and the search than it is about finding it. I've got the key, I've got the secret. Is that a song? Whose song is that? I don't know. Trinidad, hello, Trinidad, welcome. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, I think I was meant to find that book. And the one that I found was illustrated by Maurice Sendak, and I've always liked his illustrations and had several of his other children's books. So that's what got me into it. And then I also picked up a couple other books by George MacDonald, which are very strange fairy tales. They don't feel like they're written for children. Most of them are more like fantasy novels. So the key, did I say the key already? Secrets, revelations, news. Yeah. Number 18, the bread. I think it's funny how they put the in front of all these words. The bread. This isn't like the most beautiful loaf of bread I've seen. In fact, if it didn't say bread, I'd kind of wonder, is that cheese? Is it butter? What is that slab of something? Is it a brick? The bread. Bingo, says Simon. Bingo. Bread, I think, again, of sort of like, what? Oh, sorry, you're talking between each other. Betwixt says, I also think keys can mean freedom or even new opportunities and access. Life itself, the bread of life, money, abundance, prosperity, needing help. Oh, that's a dad joke, Naomi. Sustenance for me, you know, one's daily bread. Again, it's very much like the kettle to me, because it's like breaking bread, sharing bread with other people. Yeah. So yeah, Betwixt just said it, breaking bread. So sharing, peacemaking. Okay, bread is sustenance, respite. I don't never know whether to pronounce it respite or respite. Respite, which I think is rest, like, right? Nourishment or relief. Is respite rest or relief. I'm not sure. Yes, breaking bread, the tea. Yeah. Next, number 19 is the needle. Now, a needle can be, you can prick yourself with the needle. It can cause pain, but it's also a tool. It can stitch together things when your clothes are falling apart. You can mend a tear. Sewing with needles, a needle pulling thread, bring you back to dough, the dough of the bread. That's my joke, dad joke. Yeah, the needle. I think of it mostly as a tool, for binding or pulling thread through material in order to create something. It's a creative tool. But it's funny that it also feels to me like a weapon or a knife, a stabbing mechanism. There's possibly a hint of danger there. Needling thoughts, repair, needle in a haystack, looking for something, focus. Needle says creativity, repair, improvement. Next one, 20. We're only 7 cards away, guys, and we're a little over an hour. It won't be long now. The wishbone is number 20. And the wishbone, for me, this is like the clover in the Lenormand deck. It's sort of like a little bit of luck. Or, I didn't want to say when you wish upon a star, but then we'd have a star. A wish, make a wish. Make a Wish Foundation. Luck, making your own luck. If you get the long half of the broken wishbone, you get your wish. Hope, says Simon. Luck, says Naomi. Dreams, says Simon. The wishbone says chance, possibility, or change. Okay. 21, the button. It's a really hearty button there. The button, security. A button will closure. It will secure. It's funny how this button is like right in the middle of mandorla. That's like a buttonhole. It's sort of like an eye too. The button is what we stitched on our sweater or jumper with the needle that came before. Yeah, I don't know. I think of a button as kind of like security or protection or almost like something like earthly value. It's almost like a coin, something you might trade. I had an aunt, or no, my sister. Was it my aunt? My sister used to collect buttons in a big tin box. And I think she found them both beautiful and felt like they were lucky. Where are we? Goes with needle and thimble. It's a sewing deck. Button your lip. Watch what you say. Loss. I've got button for money. Is that a phrase? I got plenty of button. Connection. Fasten. Okay. Button. Restraint, comfort, small but vital things. That's interesting. Small but vital things. First thing that popped into my head there was a paper clip. I don't know why. And a paper clip is very similar to a button in a way in terms of what it does. Okay, vampires. Number 22, the garlic. What does the garlic mean to you? For me, it's protection and healing. I know garlic is a very healing vegetable. Is it a vegetable or an herb? I'm not sure, but it's something that you eat that is, I think it's antiseptic. It's used in, various soups and foods and remedies for things that you can apply to your skin or you can take internally. Protection, ward off evil, cleansing. Okay. Garlic. Bad breath. Protection, preservation, security, health protection, health, layers of oneself. Oh, that's interesting, Heather. Number 23, witches, the besom. I like that they use that word instead of broom. For me, this is cleansing, clearing, magic, spell casting, transportation, witches, repetitive action is what it is, kind of in Lenormand. Sweeping away, sweeping things out of your life, sweeping problems away, dirt and dust, clearing, cleaning, cleansing, clearing, astral travel. Yeah. Protection. A new broom sweeps clean. Yeah. Number 24. Oh, wait, I didn't read the broom. A fresh start, clearance, energy. If I forget to read any, remind me. Number 24, the lantern. Okay, this is right off the Hermit card. Finding one's way, direction, illumination for me is similar to a candle or the sun. Something illuminating, something finding answers, providing answers, leading the way, lighting one's way. Simon said journey for the besom, and Betwixt said also considered a symbol of fertility and commitment. Inner light, says Simon, illuminate, guiding light, self-reflection, this light of mine. Sing it, Simon. Did we lose Sandra? Is she still here? Lantern, guidance, shelter, warmth. Guiding the way out of the dark. Number 25, the athame. Oh, that's why they used besom and athame instead of broom and blade or knife. It's because it's the witch's oracle, right? The athame. This is cutting, something to the point, which could also be the needle. Slicing, rending, dividing, separating, injure, harm. Goodness, all those things. Weaponry. Yeah, I'm not thinking of the typical athame meaning. For me, it's more like a weapon, a knife or blade, directing energy. Okay, yeah. See, when I think of directing energy, I think more of a wand, and I've always been confused at how people differently use an athame versus a wand, but that's a whole other topic. Energy, sorry, I was thinking wand then, yeah. Directing, cutting away negative energy, okay. The Athame. Ritual, protection, power. Okay, and this, unlike the Lenormand book, this is the grimoire, which for me is sort of a secret book of spells or magic, or maybe hidden knowledge might be the best keywords for me. Sandra stepped away for a while. What do you guys think of the grimoire? Book of spells, magic and spells, says Sandra. Knowledge, says Simon. Yeah, whenever I think of any book, I think of knowledge, often secret knowledge. You need to open a book and read it in order to gain something from it. You don't just use it for a doorstop or to make your seating on your chair a little higher. Secret knowledge. Okay. Grimoire, knowledge, tradition, self-improvement. Okay. Stored knowledge, says Betwixt. And we're down to our last card, number 27, the horseshoe, which is luck. And the superstition behind that is you put it on the wall this way so that the luck stays in. If you put it on this way, the luck runs out. So I kind of wonder about the origins of the horseshoe as being lucky. I suppose if your horse retains its shoes, that's lucky. And if it shakes one loose or it falls off, that could be unlucky. Good luck. Definitely good luck and success. I like the idea that this is the final card, the horseshoe, because it's kind of like the world in the major arcana. It sort of ends on a positive or high note. Protection, good luck and success. Wedding, that's interesting. Do people have horseshoes at their wedding, or they play horseshoes during the reception? If you have your wedding in a barn, you're probably drinking and eating food and playing horseshoes in the field outside the barn. And you could get a lucky ringer if you throw the horseshoe and it hits the stake and makes a ringing sound. I think that's called a ringer. No, is that the same thing as a dead ringer? In any event, it feels very much in terms of luck. And the meaning is luck, peace, and happiness. So I don't know, what's your overall feels about this deck? I feel like, it's an okay number of cards. It could have a few more. I feel a little bit like slightly cheated to know that Simon's version has more cards than mine. But as it's self-contained thing, I think it probably has enough cards. I like the look of the cards. I'd almost like them to be a little bit more antique-y looking, like if they were on linen cardstock, they would feel a little more antique-y kind of. And the backs and the fronts feel a little bit, I mean, they work, they fit, but they feel a little bit different style to me. I almost wish the back wasn't quite so dark. I think the borders have been kind of burnished in, like smoky, to make them dark and mysterious. But I do sort of like the front that way, although I almost wish they had kind of aged the front a little bit, like put some age marks on it, and each one different, not just a rubber stamp. But, I probably expect too much from cards. My standards are very demanding. Sandra, Simon's going to show me his. I don't know when that might be. If you're sending me a little private video, or if you've already done a walkthrough and you have a link to it, send me the link and I'll watch that. Or maybe you'll look at them on your catch up and cards tomorrow. So let's see. I love this interactive chat. Thank you, says Naomi. Thank you. If you remind me on Saturday, Robin, I'll show you mine, being as you've been kind enough to show us yours. Terrific. Thank you. Heather says, I don't resonate with all the descriptions in the book. Most of us don't, Heather. And that's the thing I love about this kind of oracle, because you don't have to pay any attention to the description card. You can just go by what that image means for you. Now, the practice will be in the pudding, or the proof will be in the pudding, or in the practice. As I lay out a spread and consult them, I'm going to have to see, do they communicate with me? Because I know the tarot system and what those cards mean and say to me. But oracles are a different matter every time you pick up an oracle deck. So we'll see if I can use these. These fit mostly into what I relate to as an oracle deck, as opposed to the majority of them that are out there that I don't relate to. So we'll see. I might have to do a follow-up after I've used them a bit. Betwixt, I was considering this deck, but I'm not sold yet. I like how they look, but I'm not sure if they add anything new to the conversation. They were fairly, I can't remember how much they cost. They weren't super expensive, but I think the shipping was kind of costly. So it almost doubled. In fact, I think they were around $15, $16. But I think with the shipping, it ended up being like $29 or something. So that's, I don't know. That might be a lot for 27 cards. I don't know. So let's see. Simon's Athame is a dagger. Mine's a letter opener, but it's pretty. If I can find it to show you. It's right here somewhere. I don't use it as an athame, really. It's just at one point I decided I should have all the tools. And so I saw this and bought it. I like the box, dusty box. It's kind of like the boxes that the Harry Potter wands come in. And it's a little bit modern, but I like it. It's chrome. I like this handle. And for me, this, you can call this a letter opener. I call it an athame. And I like that it's pointed, but it's not super sharp. The edges aren't like a real blade. But to me, it sort of serves the same purpose as an athame, I think. And I don't really do rituals so much. So, I mean, I can't even remember the last time I took that out of the box to look at it, to use it for anything. I guess if I'm casting some kind of a ritual spell, which I don't really do, then I might use it. See above. Betwixt, I'm like you, Robin, very picky about oracle decks. I think I want a little more than this deck is giving. Okay. Intuition, exactly. Okay. Great new series, Robin. Yeah, I needed to sort of reassess, Simon. I think we all need to do that from time to time when we have a channel and we get in a little bit of a rut of doing the same thing. It's like, can I provide anything else? Can I offer something else? And I've been doing all these walkthroughs and I thought, well, that's fine. I can get all my thoughts out and all my pros and cons, but I don't often do lives anymore because they're always a little awkward for me. I don't always have a topic that I want to talk about with people. But the thing I love about looking at tarots and cards is the sharing, learning. When I do readings or spreads with people online, I'll have somebody else on with me, and we'll give each other feedback on our interpretations, not in terms of that's wrong or that's right, but it's like, oh, you mentioned this, this, and this. I see that, but what popped out at me was this, or I also see this. And that helps me build my own glossary, of keywords that I can use. And so, yeah, I think it's a great sort of learning thing, opportunity. Sorry, I meant in the card, same image, different title. Yeah. Well, shipping's ridiculous these days. Yeah, it is. And it's often like somewhere between 10 and 20. That's pretty high. $10 I'm used to. And if it comes from far away and they have to use there's more involved filling out. Think about the labor involved in just filling out postal forms and packing the item. And I think we're kind of spoiled when we pop into a shop and buy a retail mass market deck, because they make up for their costs in volume. But if you've got an indie deck that they only print 50 or a couple hundred, and it's labor intensive, they've got to make up for that. And a lot of them aren't making any profit on the shipping fees. That's the postal system. So that's another whole topic to get into. Lovely time with y'all. Time to make some supper. Have a good evening. A happy weekend. Welcome betwixt between and things unseen. Happy to get to know you. Oh, thanks for the thanks on the t-shirt. I'm not good at lives, says Sandra. I think you're good at lives, so I enjoy them. The thing about lives is sort of being able to juggle the chat. And I'm very happy with this size chat. There may be 10, 12 people here, and it's not scrolling that fast. So I can kind of keep up with it, but it's a separate skill to be able to do that, I think. All right. We learn from each other. Great tool for exploring knowledge. Yes. I'm going to end the stream now. Thank you all for joining me. And I might not be back until the next deck arrives. Actually, it'll probably arrive in the next week or two, but my birthday is on the 8th. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just hold off that deck and have a live on my birthday, and you can all celebrate with me and we can go through that deck. I'm not giving you any hints right now as to what the deck is, but we shall see. Something different. Talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me. Everybody have a great weekend and a great week. Goodbye.